So, Phil recruited me to sell these cards, and now I am recruiting you. Don't worry about Phil. He drives a Corvette. He is doing just fine.
Hello, friends of the internet. Did I test my mic before we started? No, I didn't. Here you go. I have to sneeze. Oh my god. Anyway, hi everybody. I am very unprepared if you can't tell. I'm just trying to post this to Instagram so we could get more friends to come hang out with us in the chat. How's everybody doing? Let me know. Happy Monday. I'm doing okay. I'm feeling a little bit frazzled at the moment, but we're here. We made it. And oh my god, I hate when you can hear your own voice. The worst. Okay. Just bear with me. Today we're going to be talking about the New York Times article that came out. If you haven't already deduced that based on the title of this video. And I'm excited to get into it. I will state as we get into the conversation that I will not be reading the entire article out loud, and I am not going to be doing that for a couple reasons. First one being that a number of months ago, probably well over a year now, I recorded a video here on YouTube where I read an article and reacted to it, and it was about life coaching. I don't even honestly remember the title of the article. Anyway, about 2 months ago, I received an email from the author of that article who was very upset, rightfully so, that I read the article on YouTube because apparently it was behind a paywall, and I didn't know that. And so basically the way, I guess, paywall articles work is that the author gets like a small amount every time the article gets read. And so for me to like platform the video, she wouldn't get the commission, basically. So anyway, I ended up having to take that video down. She said I didn't have to, but I felt bad. So I took the video down. And all that to say, today we won't be reading the article for that exact reason. I have the article linked in the description of this video if you want to go read it yourself. But we will kind of go over like a Cliff Notes version of what is included in the article. So I'll kind of like summarize it if you haven't read it yet. And then we're going to go over some screenshots that I have about people's reaction to the article. So all that to say, in the article, they featured my friend Eva over at Why Don't You Say Something, who has been on this channel with me. Her and I did a live stream together back in, I think it was March. So if you haven't watched that video, you should, and I can link it later. Or if someone, Harrison, I think is here, if you don't mind going to find that live stream and just linking it in the live chat, I would really appreciate that. And yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to get this posted. And then we can go ahead and get started. So if you are here catching the replay, let me know in the comments. And if you're here because you're a Brooke Castillo super stan, welcome. Welcome to the channel. I hope that this can be an opportunity for you to see that we aren't just all bitter internet hater trolls and that maybe we have something of value to add to the conversation. So maybe we don't. I don't know. Maybe my perspective is biased. It probably is. Let's see. Welcome. Harrison, nice to see you back, by the way. Welcome back to the live chat. Your presence has been missed here on the channel. I didn't really think that one through, Eloise, but I could see how you would make that parallel. Eloise says, at first glance, I thought the thumbnail was an Illuminati video. Not quite. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my god, that's amazing, Eloise. Eloise says, I just did a personal best at swimming, 64 lengths. That's more than I could ever swim in my entire life. Okay, I'm going to be keeping my phone notifications on because I am looking for someone. I'm looking for a man in finance. I'm looking for a person who's been in the life coach school. Only if you're watching live. If you're watching the replay, unfortunately, you're not going to be much help. But if you are watching this video live and you have done the life coach school certification, I need your help. DM me on Instagram while we are doing this video because I need someone with insider information to help me. Okay, love it. I love to see it. Eloise says, I'm here as a Danielle fan. Okay, well, you know what? I appreciate you because not everyone who comes to my channel is a Danielle fan. And in fact, they have no problem telling me how dumb and stupid and wrong I am. So I love to see it. Thank you. Okay, Harrison has shared a link in the chat from the live stream that I did with Eva Collins from Why Don't You Say Something? If you haven't watched that, I believe in that live stream, we just react to a bunch of silly content. So it's a fun time. And if you haven't watched it, you should. Welcome, 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 Suzanne. Let's get rich. That's right. Amazing. K-Bird says, hi from the Washington State Ferry. I will be able to chat until I have to start driving again. Love it. I did the Tony Robbins. Yeah. Not helpful. Sorry, I'm looking for specific access to something that only someone who has been in the life coach school would have access to. I had connected with someone on Reddit, but they were afraid that like their identity would somehow get revealed. So I just want somebody else who's willing to provide me some information anonymously throughout the stream, if possible. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. I got my sparkling water as per usual. And we're going to go ahead and jump right in. I got this dog behind me. He's alive, although he might not look like it. Why are you so depressed, man? I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. So this was brought to my attention in a couple different ways. Obviously, I saw Eva shared it on Instagram when it came out. And someone also shared it in the Reddit. So let me open up Reddit. Perfect. Okay, you guys can see that. Love it, love it, love it. So, as you can see from the title here, New York Times article today, they spent their life savings on life coaching. Some people who wanted to improve their lives and careers through coaching found themselves trapped in what they described as a pyramid scheme. If you're new to my channel, I have a lot, and by a lot, I mean, I think it's almost 100 videos now, outlining, detailing, debunking, reacting to my perspective on this coaches pyramid scheme that we're seeing in the coaching industry. I will preface our conversation this evening by saying this. Do I think the entire life coaching industry is a pyramid scheme? No. Do I think every coach is evil and just wants to steal all your money? Also no. Do I think that there are a lot of problems in the coaching industry and there are a lot of people who are just out to get your money? Yes. Yes, I do believe that, allegedly, in my own opinion. Okay. Back to what it says. Reads like Life Coach School and 2K for 2K, which is Stacey Bayman's program, if you're not familiar. Reads like the Life Coach School and 2K for 2K are the programs mentioned at the start of the article. Here is the gift link so people can access without a subscription. So again, you're free to go read the article on your own if you would like. I will not be reading it in its entirety here because I do want to respect the author and I don't want to get in trouble. So we can read through some of the comments that happened here. I guess actually here's what I'll do. I'll stop sharing my screen for a moment. I'm going to open the article. It is linked in the description if you want to go check it out yourself. And then we'll kind of summarize what's going on here. And then we'll get into the Reddit comments. Then we'll get into the screenshots. Okay? I'm just trying to figure this out on the fly. Okay. Monica, so far you haven't missed anything. Monica's asking what she missed. Nothing. Just me blabbering for the last 10 minutes. What else is new? Okay, I'm going to try to adjust this. That's better. Okay. So basically, the byline of the article reads, some people who wanted to improve their lives and careers through coaching found themselves trapped in what they describe as a pyramid scheme. Now, when we're talking about coaching in this specific context, referring to it as a pyramid scheme, a lot of times what people who are in the coaching industry, particularly the ones that get offended by the content I make on this channel, tend to say to me is, well, therapists have therapists, and teachers had to go to teachers college, and doctors got trained by other doctors. And the difference between a coach having their own coach versus the coaches coaching coaches pyramid is the intention, in my opinion. So if I'm a coach who has a coaching business where I'm actually working with like life coaching clients, I'm helping people with their lives, and I have a coach for my own personal life, maybe a business coach, to help me with my business. That's not what I'm talking about, because I'm actually a life coach coaching clients. Yes, I need to learn how to be a life coach from like another life coach maybe. When we talk about coaches coaching coaches as being problematic, we're talking about this endless stream of coaches where it's coaches all the way down. So I am the coach. I'm just going to pick on people in the chat. Monica hires me to now I'm her mentor. So then Monica's a coach. I'm a coach. And then Harrison comes along and he hires Monica. So Monica's working with me. Harrison's working with Monica. Suzanne comes along. Suzanne hires Harrison. So then we got me and then Monica and then Harrison and Suzanne. I forgot what order I put you all in. And we're all just coaching. I'm coaching you to coach him, to coach her, to coach. There's no actual thing going on other than coaches coaching other coaches. And so that is what people are talking about when they refer to the coaching industry as a pyramid scheme. We're not talking about the fact that a coach has another coach, or a coach is being mentored by another coach, or a coach learns how to become a coach by going to a coaching school. We are talking about the principle of people not actually coaching real clients and instead just building an entire business where they coach other coaches and then teach that coach how to build their own business, coaching other coaches. And again, there's no actual person with a business at the bottom of the pyramid. That is, in my opinion, when we can see it referred to as a pyramid scheme. If you disagree with me in the comments, please let me know your thoughts, but that's kind of how I see it. Eloise says, it's midnight here, so I'm just going to listen and not watch and maybe fall asleep. Okay. Sweet dreams. And she also says, as a pharmacist, I have peers and mentors, but you are sharing knowledge and not necessarily any money is needed. That's another thing too, is okay, so yes, let's say I'm a dentist and I go to dentistry school. Obviously, I'm going to be taught by other dentists at dentistry school. They're not just going to hire some random to teach people how to become a dentist. Typically, from my understanding, from my friends who actually did become dentists, the teachers at dentistry school have been practicing for many, many years. It's not just someone graduated from dentistry school and then became a dentist teacher. It's usually people who have left private practice to then become teachers. But anyway, I digress. In addition to that, the intention is that when you graduate with your medical license in dentistry, you're going to be able to actually work with clients. Like me, I just finished the most insane dental operation of my life. Last week, I finally have a fake tooth. I am the client that the dentist who went to dentist school and learned from another dentist is now working with. When we have coaches coaching other coaches to coach other coaches, there is no me at the end of the thing. There is no actual client whose life is getting coached. It's just coaches coaching other coaches. Okay? I'm going to get off my soapbox. Okay, I'm glad that it's making sense. Suzanne says, that's a great description. K-Bird says, therapists might have therapists, but that's not how they learn to be therapists. Doctors go to med school, not just to become a doctor to become a doctor. Exactly. There's a client or a patient at the bottom. Created by EJF says, I think of it how in Procreate, when you duplicate a layer, you lose quality each time. That's the other thing too with coaching specifically. It's like a game of broken telephone where at least in my experience when I was in coaching, that's what it was like, because my coach would learn something from whatever her mentor said. She would then teach it to me. I would then write it down, save it, do it to my clients. And then I never actually coached other coaches. I only coached actual people. But let's just pretend they also wanted to become a coach. Then they could do the same thing, it's yeah, exactly. A bad game of telephone. You and me, same wavelength. Yeah, Harrison makes a good point here too. He says, I think they missed the part where kickbacks change the moral undertones of their metaphor. Yeah, I say this a lot in most of my content, I feel, is like, ultimately, to me anyway, it comes down to intention. When people ask me, like, okay, I want to be a coach, I still want to be a coach, how can I go about it the right way? My answer is always, come back to your intention. What do you want to help people with? Are you just out to make $500,000? Or do you actually have this, like, I hate to use this, but like greater purpose or goal that you want to achieve with your clients? What is it? Make sure that every time you're creating content, you're working with clients, you're selling your offers, that you are leading with whatever that intention is, and focus less on like, this is how you can get rich, and focus more on, these are the actual things that through my coaching, I'm going to be able to help you with. This is true too, and a really good point that I think is often missed. K-Bird says, receiving a service doesn't teach you to provide it. And I think that's something that can get misconstrued very easily, especially in like the coaching or self-help space, is because people think that because they've read a book or they bought an online course or whatever, they're suddenly like qualified to teach that to other people. I mean, we're seeing that a lot right now with the whole like master resale rights, MRR thing, which I have a couple videos on, and I'm working on a third video right now. But basically, if you're not familiar, Cliff Notes summary is there are a mass, like hundreds, if not thousands of people on social media right now calling themselves digital marketing experts who have no experience in business, no experience in marketing, no experience in anything other than purchasing this. I think it's a $497 course. I mean, now there's a bunch of different courses, but originally it was a $497 course called the Digital Roadmap or Roadmap to Riches that teaches you how to market a business, digital marketing for business. Basically, people bought this course and then they started reselling it to other people, calling themselves a digital marketing expert, regardless of whether they actually watched the contents of the course and learned anything. They were selling people on the dream of like, you buy this course from me, you can resell it to people you know, and so on and so on. And I think that that's a really great example of the fact that like, just because you bought something doesn't all of a sudden make you an expert in that thing. You need proven, what did I say in the last video that I posted? Verified or verifiable credentials or experience. So I need to be able to say, like, for example, I call myself a content marketer. I don't have a background in marketing from an education perspective. I have 6 years of business experience, not only running 2 of my own businesses, but also helping hundreds of other people start and market their businesses on social media. So it's like, does this person who claims to be an expert in XYZ, whether that's marketing, whether it's coaching, whatever, actually have the credentials or the experience to back that statement up? That's a hill I will die on. And just because you took a certification one time, if you haven't done it in practice, I think like that also is like a little bit sketchy. Exactly. Joseph, this is what I was trying to say, much more articulately. He says, fundamentally, people need to share knowledge for others to learn. It's about the context and the end goal. Teachers teach teachers, but that's so they can eventually teach kids or whoever. They're teaching someone else than just other teachers. Like, you wouldn't just have teachers all the way down. Welcome, Avery. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, and I mean, we see this in every single industry. So Nothing Defined says a lot of industries are prohibitively hard to break into. I was trying to get into modeling in the late 90s, early 2000s, and there were coaches, classes, masterminds back then that were cash grabs. I mean, I even saw like there are coaches for girls or young women that want to get into like certain sororities. And there's like coaches to help you get into college, and like so many, you could coach anyone in anything now. It's just wild. Exactly. So Harrison says, I go to fellow personal trainers to lose weight, not to learn how to grift my colleagues, which is the problem with my industry. We have covered fitness coaching many times on this channel, but it is riddled with people being like, let me teach you how to build your $8 gajillion fitness business. Ugh. Yes, 100%. Suzanne says, I also think a lot of the issues is many of the coaches have never worked with clients. They're just teaching how to sell. And yeah, that was kind of where I was trying to go with my incomplete thought, is like, okay, you could take a life coaching, an ICF certified life coaching certification, but if you don't actually have the practical hours working with clients, that doesn't all of a sudden qualify you to now certify someone else in coaching, in my opinion. Again, this is just my opinion. Okay, I feel like I am all over the place. Let me get back to this article. So basically, the article starts with someone identifying themselves and stating that they were a nurse and they decided they wanted to become a coach. And one part that I thought was particularly interesting is this person is quoted saying that I'm an intelligent human being and we all think it's never going to happen to us. I have multiple videos on this channel that cover why people get scammed. I talk about this a lot. I posted a TikTok last week about this. And I just really want to make it clear that if you are someone that falls for one of these life coaching scams or any kind of predatory scam, whether it's online, on the phone, in real life, it is important to know that that is not a reflection of your intelligence or lack thereof. People get scammed more often than not as a result of their vulnerabilities. Particularly with coaching, I think what often happens, based on my own anecdotal experience of other people that I've spoken with, interviewed on this channel, etc., the one common thread that I always see is some level of discontent with where you are currently at, whether it's in your life, your relationships, your career, your business, etc. You're discontent with some level of that to the point where you find this person who is marketing themselves as having the perfect magical solution to solve that problem for you. They take advantage of that vulnerability by getting you to sign up for their program, usually thousands of dollars, only to more often than not be left feeling like you didn't get what you paid for. Now, we're going to continue this conversation in a little bit because one of the screenshots that I have addresses this in a classic way that I see a lot of coaches sort of refuting that argument, but I will hold off until we get there. So the article goes on to continue just sharing her experience and talks a little bit about the ICF. And so if you're not familiar, the ICF is the International Coaching Federation, which is attempting to serve sort of as this like governing body for the coaching industry. But it doesn't have any kind of like standardized accreditation. So there are some like questions about the legitimacy of the ICF, but it is trying its best. So the individual that they interview goes on to just sort of recount her experience of when she discovered life coaching. She took out a lot of money, her 401k, thousands and thousands of dollars. Again, the Reddit thread sort of suggests that it sounds like it's the life coach school. Whether or not that's true is to be determined. So basically, the article continues on. Again, if you're just jumping in now, I'm not reading the article just because it is behind a paywall. I don't want to get in trouble. If you want to check it out, I have it linked in the description. And the other interesting piece, sorry, I'm kind of jumping around, is they bring up a statistic, which I've mentioned in other content of mine. So basically, they draw attention to the fact that I think must be the ICF that stated this statistic somewhere on the internet. It stated that the average life coach can earn, $250 an hour, which I think is, and they say this in the article as well, that number is grossly skewed by the people who are making a lot of money versus the people that don't make very much money. It's much like we see in MLMs, if you're familiar, where the average income of an MLM or like earnings of an MLM person in a year will be, let's say, $20,000. But if you look at the median income, it's like $2,000 because you have a lot of people at a certain level making a ton of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then you have everyone else at the bottom making basically zero. So just something to keep in mind whenever you see statistics of like, the industry is worth X or most people in the industry make Y. I want to see the numbers. I want to see the actual median. I don't want to see averages because averages are never really correct. Exactly. Show us the median income. That's what you always want to ask in any kind of like income statement. Welcome, 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 Julia. Welcome. Yay. So glad you could make it, Kathy. Happy to have you here. If you guys haven't watched last week's video, was it last week or was it 2 weeks ago now? Anyway, you guys can figure it out. I interviewed Kathy here on the channel a couple weeks ago. She is a coach. She's not a scammer, in my opinion. So feel free to go give that one a watch. Okay, article continues on interviewing another individual. And yes, basically just people sharing their experiences. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning, it features my friend Eva, who just talks about her experience. So if you're not familiar with Eva, she was a life coach as well, similar to myself. Never really did anything predatory, just lots of, cringy stuff. And basically talks about, the nature of the industry and how it can sometimes parallel that of cults, in my opinion. I have a couple videos on this channel that also kind of detail the parallels between coaching, MLMs, and cults. And really just talks about how you can't ask questions. If you ask questions, you're told you're a hater, you're a naysayer, da-da-da-da-da. Much like the feedback that we're going to get into about this article specifically is what Eva is saying in the article of like, you cannot question the things you see because then you're told it's a mindset issue. Anyways, I really just wanted to bring this to your attention because I think that the more we can start to talk about this here on platforms like the New York Times, like the article that I did with Inc. magazine a few months ago, my article with The Guardian, all sorts of things. It's like the more we can bring this to mainstream attention, the better the chance we have at people not falling for this bullshit. For lack of a better term, I apologize if you get offended. But my ultimate intention here with my content is advocacy. I want people to come into coaching relationships with their eyes wide open, with honest expectations and understandings about like what is reasonable and what's not. And so my intention is never to drag anyone. I just want to make that clear. Kathy says, no scamming here, and I wish there were scam police for coaches. You and I both. Maybe I should make some merch. Scam police. Woo, woo. Okay. Yeah, totally agree. Monica says, the biggest red flag in the universe is the inability to ask questions. Jason, welcome to the channel. I absolutely agree, though, Monica. I think that's something, and people in the chat who are in the chat right now that have been in a coaching container in the past can let us know if this was your experience. But if you have ever been in like a toxic coaching program or worked with a toxic mentor, they absolutely foster an environment where you are not allowed to ask questions outside of the norm. And I mean, this is what happened. I've told this story so many times, but when I had my negative experience with my coach, I was afraid to bring it up to anyone else in the group because everyone else was always typing in the Facebook group, typing in the group chat, like, oh my God, this is amazing. I have so many great results. And it wasn't until after the fact, months later, sometimes even years later, that I connected with people privately in the DMs that it came out that they were also unsatisfied with what they were coached on or the program that they were given. But because the environment isn't conducive to feedback, it's so difficult to feel as though you can say anything. Yes, 100%. Hillary says, I can't get over how defensive I would have been reading this article when I was in the coaching world. 100%. I absolutely agree. Like, this reminds me of people in my life at the time that I was coaching being like, what the fuck is Danielle doing? Why would anyone pay money for that? This is blah, 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 blah. And I would be like, you just don't get it. You don't understand. You don't know the power of coaching and how incredible it is. Which, that's not to diminish anyone in the chat who is actively a coach. I just think that if you are in it to the point where you can't see the like bad things that are happening in the space, it's much different. Whereas, like, for example, Suzanne here in the chat, she is a coach, but she's also very much aware of the shady shit that's happening. In fact, her and I did an interview a couple of months ago now where we talk about this. And I think having that level of self-awareness is what makes the coaches who are like actually doing good work more credible, because they're able to decipher what is the bullshit. Whereas the people that can't see that, red fucking flag. John Mark, welcome back to the live chat. It's been a couple of weeks. Hello, hello. Top Gear GT, what up? Harrison says, don't ask so many questions. Just worry about selling. Ah, yes, Kathy. I love this. Kathy says, I want to cover this topic with you on LinkedIn because there are so many career coaching scams that go over on there. You know, I just got a request on LinkedIn today. I get random requests quite often. And I usually don't add anyone that I don't actually know either in real life or like actually have had conversations with elsewhere on the internet. And anyways, I got this request from this person. So I was looking through their profile and they're currently like open for work. I guess they took like a bit of a sabbatical and now they're looking to find a job. But I start looking through their career history, and prior to their sabbatical, they were a career coach. But then prior to that, they had like a sales job, and then they graduated college. So they got out of college, became a salesperson, and then became a career coach. And I was like, where is the experience here that qualifies you to become a career coach? Unless there's something I'm missing. But like I am legitimately friends with people who are career coaches that have had multiple years of experience, not only in the workforce, but also in recruiting, and could offer, you know, valuable advice, especially when it comes to like the interview process. But to me, I was just like, what is this person doing? I'm so confused, but maybe there's something I'm missing. I don't fully understand that industry. It's not something that I've really dove into. And I've never like used a career coach when I was finding a job because I haven't had a job in so long. But definitely would be down to chat. So you can message me on Instagram or send me an email and we can set that up. Oh, hi, buddy. Welcome back. Yeah, sunk cost fallacy is another big one too. And I think that'll become evident in some of the screenshots we're going to take a look at, because a lot of these people are like, and I was like this too, of like, well, how could this possibly be bad? Because they don't want to admit that they made a faulty investment. So they find all these ways to like gaslight themselves into thinking that they made the right choice. So even if my business, and I've talked about this so many times, even if my business isn't financially successful, at least I have a good mindset. At least I have the structure for a good business. At least I have this incredible online course that nobody's bought, but it's so amazing. And it's like they like trick themselves into justifying, because they've spent so much money. It's so hard to admit to yourself like, fuck, maybe I messed up. A 100%. Julia says, I would have said there's clearly a need because people are buying without realizing why they were buying. And so let's talk about this. Let's unpack this a little bit. So why do people buy? Why do people buy coaching? This specific pyramid scheme subsect of coaching, if it's a pyramid scheme. Why do they buy it? Again, it comes back to this idea that I already spoke about. If you are in a vulnerable position, I'm desperate to make my business work because I burned all my boats, guys. I quit my job and I'm ready to have the business of my dreams. Or I've been single for 5 years and I'm lonely and I need someone to teach me how to fall in love. or I'm so miserable in my 9-to-5 job, I need to find a way out. What happens? Sally Joe, the coach, comes along with the perfect magical solution. I'm going to teach you the secret to making 8 kajillion figures. I'm going to teach you the secret to finding the love of your life. I'm going to teach you how to find purpose. How am I going to do that in all of those cases? I'm going to teach you how to coach other people in that subject, and then the results will magically come. Obviously not true. But when you're in it, you don't see it. And so, yeah, I'm saying I'm using these manipulative tactics to get people to sign up for my programs. So obviously, if they're buying it, what I'm doing can't be a scam because people are buying it. But no, it's because you're manipulating those people into thinking they need this thing that they don't need. Allegedly, in my opinion. Love it. Suzanne says, I don't feel diminished. I think we should be having these conversations. Emperor's new clothing situation. Exactly. %. This comment reads, sunk cost fallacy accounts for such a high percentage of human behavior. We are wired to justify our past patterns to ourselves at a great cost. 100%. We can always mental gymnastics our way out of any situation. Yeah, at least I'm investing in myself as the upline coach laughs to the bank. Yeah, the common thread in those 3 types of the examples I just gave, desperate. Exactly. If you're vulnerable, I try to avoid using the word desperate because I feel like it can have like a bit of a negative connotation. But if you're in a vulnerable position where you are faced with some sort of discomfort in your life, and this came up actually in the interview I did with the lawyer a couple weeks ago, where she talks about as long as you believe that there is something wrong with you, that there is something that you are longing for an answer for, there is going to be someone that's going to be able to scam you. Because if you're unhappy in your job, perfect. I'm a coach that can help you get out of that. If you're unhappy in your relationships, perfect. I'm a coach. I can help you get out of that. Your business isn't doing well, perfect. I'm a coach. I can help you get out of that. And I'm not saying that like this only applies to the coaching industry. I'm obviously just talking about coaching because that's what I talk about here. But this applies in like any kind of situation. Think about like, I was watching a woman on TikTok explain how she got romance scammed by this man who stole like basically all of her life savings from her. And essentially she was talking about, I had gotten divorced. I was 3 years single and I was finally ready to get back into the dating pool. I, was feeling a little bit lonely. This man started showing me attention. He, cosplayed as a very kind, loving person. Next thing you know, I'm giving him all my money. Then I find out he's done this to hundreds of other women. That's like the very Cliff Notes version. But it just goes to show that if you are in any kind of vulnerable situation and someone is offering you this perfect solution to that problem, you are much less likely to think like, oh, I better double check and make sure there's no red flags. Because if we come back to human psychology, when we're talking about like sunk cost fallacy, the same thing applies here. When you're in these situations, you will ignore every fucking red flag possible in order to convince yourself that you're making the right choice for yourself. Because it's much harder to face the truth sometimes than it is to admit like, oh, maybe this isn't the right choice. Maybe I'm not making good choices. That's the area that got me hiring life coaches, relationship coaches. Yep. I've interviewed a couple people on the channel too that worked with relationship coaches because of bad relationships with their parents, bad relationships with exes, that kind of thing. Tunnel vision, 100%. Yeah. Monica says, I can't imagine paying for a specific service and all of a sudden I'm being derailed into becoming a coach. And I think this happens more often than not, just purely based on the evidence from the interviews that I've done on this channel. There's been a handful of people I've spoken with who are like, yeah, If you look at Autumn Askew's interview with me where she talks about wanting to grow her art business, she's like, yeah, I hired this coach because she told me she would teach me how to build my art business to 6 figures. And then when I got in, I found out, oh, the only way to grow to 6 figures is to become a coach for other artists. Ooh. Yes, Julia says, this is why external opinions are so important and why coaches want you to avoid them. 1,000%. Every time. Okay, I just realized my mic is like blasting, so I do apologize for that. Yep, anyone can set themselves up as a coach, correct. And that's the problem, because now I'm the coach, and much to Julia's point, Julia wants to sign up for my coaching program. I'm telling her, I'm going to teach you how to make $8 million in 30 days. And she's like, wow, this sounds great. And then she goes to her boyfriend and he's like, yo, Julia, that's a really bad idea. And I'm like, your boyfriend just doesn't want what's best for you. You should just take out a loan and pay me and let's do it. Anyways, okay, let's move into some of the feedback that I got. So I'm just going to double check, see if anyone answered my call out. You know, again, if you're watching this video and you have been in the life coach school and you can help me, message me on Instagram. Okay, so basically, I really tried to look on Reddit and I couldn't find anything. But I was trying to find, you know, the other side of the coin. So first, let's take a look here at some of the comments on Reddit. I'm sure many of you that are here have already seen this, but in case you haven't, let's just have a look. So this article or this response reads, I wish they had named Brooke Castillo and the Life Coach School. Unfortunately, when people search for information about the school, this won't come up. I'm so glad this story is coming to light, though. The LCS certification was a scam, in my opinion. It was so poorly done, and the financial opportunity and support you get was wildly exaggerated in the marketing. I wish they had talked more about how misleading Brooke and Stacy are in their marketing. Really proud of the people who spoke up in this article, though. Thank you for representing those of us who have been harmed by the industry. One Redditor responds, I'm not well versed in life coaching. I found this sub a while ago through Reddit Recommends and stayed out of curiosity. But is the life coach school just some certification that Brooke Castillo made up? Like there's no actual regulatory body mandating or overseeing it. It's just a certificate she gives out to people who pay for her program. If so, I'm confused about how this even got off the ground. From reading a few threads, one of the biggest reasons people say they got into life coaching is because there's less red tape and a lower barrier to entry. That in itself should be a red flag. If you're going to put a ton of money and time anyway, why wouldn't you get licensed in something that actually requires licensure, like becoming a therapist or a counselor? Another Redditor responded, Brooke's method is literally CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, repackaged as coaching. I have said that so many times. This is absolutely true. I agree with this comment. Brooke admitted this on her podcast. It's more valuable to go become an actual therapist because you learn more than one method. A fourth Redditor replies, I got certified by another program, which even offered a scholarship for qualifying candidates. Green flag for not a money trap. I would have to agree with that. It took about a year and weekly classes and recorded mentor sessions, feedback sessions, etc. All the teachers are seasoned coaches with Master Coach accreditation by ICF. When I was on the market for a coaching program, I was targeted by LCS, but Brooke looked so, I don't know, fake. I'm so glad I did my program, which is accredited by the ICF, meaning you can apply for ICF credentials and the course is pre-approved standard-wise. It is an important factor for programs to offer that. Later, I learned that LCS is not only not ICF approved, but Brooke acts like you don't need it. Yeah, Brooke refers to, and this has been, I think it's from her actual website, or it's been written in other articles. She refers to the life coach school as the Harvard of life coaching. And she basically says, this isn't verbatim. Don't take this as fact. This is just what I recall reading. She says something along the lines of like, the ICF is basically a joke, else the life coach school is better, is her opinion. They try to coach coaches into thinking they don't need it. Why do you think you need ICF certification? Because you think you're not good enough? You are good enough. Go out there and start coaching. If this is true, I think this is ironic because, or like funny, because this is exactly what Brooke did. If you're not familiar with Brooke Castillo, she has a intro video on the about page of her website, or at least she used to. And in that video, she literally says, I took a 48-hour life coach certification and became a life coach. And then she coached people on weight loss for a while. And then she created the life coach school. So for her to say, why do you think you need ICF certification? Because you think you're not good enough. You are good enough. Go out there and start coaching. Like, that's probably what she told herself. Why would I need a certification when I could just create my own certification and become what does she want to make? $100 million and make $100 million making other people coaches. Anyway, again, all alleged in my opinion. ICF is one of the only organizations that is recognized globally and has strict guidelines as to giving credentials, and clients can report coaches if they think the coach is not behaving up to code or ethics or anything else. So yeah, you can just create a program like Life Coach School and send people certificates, but there is no one to hold coaches accountable after they go out there and start butchering the only tool they learn, the thought work. And then people are kind of arguing about the ICF, And then this person replied to the original comment that was saying, like, the LCS certification isn't that good. When I certified, I thought it was really good. So I think there are a lot of people who really did enjoy it. Thousands of people have gone through it. Yes. And that's to be determined. Maybe there are people, I'm sure there are people that had a really good experience. But again, sometimes you can think you had a really good experience because you don't understand the red flags or see why it's problematic. Let's see. One more comment reads, thanks for posting the link. I really do think there are great coaches out there that genuinely want to help people and who are in their own way trying to keep others from falling for scammers. 100%. I talk about this all the time. There are people here in the chat that are doing this. It is okay to be a coach or to have a coach, provided that that coach is operating with good intentions. And what happens all too often, I think, just as a result of the nature of the life coaching school, for example, or many other coaches who coach other coaches, is the container in which you are sort of being mentored in is really conducive, in my opinion, to creating this structure of, well, if you want to be successful, you have to do exactly what I'm doing and coach other coaches because that's where the money is. You really have to do your due diligence and follow your spidey senses. Interesting that the Times didn't really do any sort of investigation, though. In this way, it seems kind of victim blamey and doesn't really dive into the manipulation or coerciveness of some of the predatory tactics. Yeah, I would agree with that. If you go ahead and read the article, they don't really talk about like why people fall for the scams so much as just saying like, I fell for this scam. So anyway, let's get into the screenshots finally. First, I will just catch up on the comments and then we'll go into that. Sorry, I just realized this camera is... Okay. Julia says, LCS feels almost like a cool kids club. Like all the coach girlies that are all in the same bubble do LCS. And if you do an ICF, that's like so uncool. Yeah. How dare you try and do something that's like sort of somewhat regulated? Ew. Come hang out with us. It's way better. Harrison says, life coach is reinventing the wheel and charging 5 figures for it. I never saw that plot twist coming. Is there a list of good coaching programs to reference? I mean, I know that I shit on the ICF, but if I was going to do a life coaching certification, I would probably start there. I would probably go to the ICF website. I would take a look at the different programs, figure out what kind of coaching I wanted to do, and then find one that aligned with that and do my due diligence, like really be looking up, because even some of the schools that are ICF accredited are questionable at best. There's one person in particular, I can't remember her name right now, but I was looking at this coach. I believe she's like a quantum manifestation coach, which, if you know how I feel about quantum manifestation and people butchering quantum physics to try and get rich, then you know. If you don't know, I have a video that will explain to you how I feel about that. Anyway, she runs some kind of quantum coaching program that's ICF certified, which makes no absolute fucking sense because no one should be certified in quantum anything unless you're a literal quantum physicist. So anyway, there are obviously some problems. I don't know what the process is like. I don't know, Kathy, if you're still here, if you can, and you might not know the answer, but if you can speak to the process of like schools actually becoming ICF accredited and what's required of them in order to do so. Because I'm sure, just like anything in life, there's probably some flaws in the system. But if I was going to become a coach, I would probably start there. I mean, when I became a coach, I did my certification on Udemy. So Daniela 6 years ago, not the same. Not the same. I don't know her. Suzanne says, I highly recommend Joanna Lindenbaum from the Applied Depth Institute. Is that who you did your certification through? Yeah, me too, Monica. Monica says, quantum manifestations make my eye twitch. Same. Amazing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This comment says, first stream. Love your work. We love to see you here. Welcome to the Snark Squad. Okay. Finally, without further ado, let's get into the screenshots. So I've cropped out any like identifying information. I'm not even going to say where I got these screenshots from, but this is real feedback in relation to the New York Times article. So this is actual coaches, presumably students of the life coach school, who are a little bit peeved that this article came out. So this one reads, this article, aka hit piece, is disappointing. To be sure there are people with varying experiences, but only a tiny mention of the good that life coaching is doing in the world. It's basically an article that sums up everything that people complain about on Reddit. Shame on the New York Times for making the coaching world sound shady and ineffective. They should, yeah, I'm shoulding here, be interviewing the many people like me who, through coaching, have changed for the better and are now way more emotionally resilient. Do you think that when they made the NXIVM documentary on Amazon that they interviewed the people that are still in NXIVM? Sorry, I had to. The world needs to hear more of that, not complaining from the few about how much money they spent trying to make a business work. I would be curious to know. And again, I don't have the person's name, so I can't look them up. But if this person who wrote this post is a coach that coaches other coaches, or if they have a successful coaching business actually coaching clients. Because I could believe you all here in the chat probably know what my guess is. I would love to hear your guess. But again, I'm just yet to see it. I am yet to see a coach that actually works with clients who gets like defensive like this. Again, I'm picking on Suzanne because I know she's here in the chat. Suzanne actively works with coaching clients, and she knows that there's a lot of bullshit that happens in this industry. She knows that people get scammed. She talks about people getting scammed in the industry. She operates with integrity. To me, the people that get the most pissed off are the people who feel threatened because now their business is at jeopardy. And again, I could be completely wrong. Maybe the person who wrote this actually works with clients. In that case, I will eat my words. I'm assuming this person operates much like Brooke Castillo, is a coach of coaches, and is now thinking, whether they realize it or not, like, holy shit, this article could destroy my entire business model. people are going to start to see that what I do is a pyramid scheme. And now they're not going to want to work with me. Now I'm going to go have to get a real job because I'm not going to be able to get enough actual coaching clients. I was coaching those other coaches. That's where the money is. Again, if I'm wrong, let me know. If you wrote this comment and you want to out yourself, let me know. We'll have a conversation. Let's do it. Do I speak French as a Canadian? Un petit peu. I've been learning Spanish for the last 2 years, so my French has gotten much, much worse. I did have to study French I studied it until university. Anyway, sorry, complete side tangent. I don't understand why they use the term coach when temporary cheerleader or recruiter would fit their actions more. Recruiter, and also, to be honest, especially in like the business coaching space, consultant. But then I don't want them to ruin the word consultant just because I do like marketing consulting. But I think that what a lot of people perceive or call business coaching isn't actually coaching. Like coaching other than like sports coaching, athletic coaching. Generally speaking, life coaching, business coaching, that sort of thing, you shouldn't really be giving a lot of advice. You should be empowering the client through questions and thoughtful discussion to come to their own conclusions, make their own choices. And I think a lot of the times coaching just becomes like dictating, do this, don't do this. Like when I had a coach, she was basically a marketing consultant. She was telling me the strategy I should use to launch my offers. And she would say, on day 1, do this. On day 2, do this. On day 3, do this. That's not a coach. That's like an actual consultant giving me the strategy. I literally still have the Excel spreadsheet that she gave me with like, this is how you're going to do it. This is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to execute. Da, 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 da. That's not really coaching because you're not asking me questions and getting me to come to my own conclusions. But anyway, I digress. Harrison says, oh, the New York Times are the ones making the coaches sound shady and ineffective, not the long-standing precedent or their own behaviors. Guys, is this the consequences for my own actions? I don't like this. Monica says, the issue is many of them didn't want to be temporary. Many of them can dupe you into believing you need them forever. Exactly. A lot of what we see, again, especially in the business coaching space, because that's what I'm most familiar with, is the only way your business is going to be successful is if you constantly have mentorship. You constantly have a coach. And that is no more prevalent, in my opinion, than in the coaches who coach other coaches. I want someone, if I'm wrong, I want someone to find me a coach who coaches other coaches who they themselves does not have their own coach. Because I don't know of a single person. I don't know of a single business coach that doesn't also have their own business coach. I have yet to see it. Exactly. Suzanne says, I wasn't annoyed by the piece. I thought it was great for people questioning before handing over their money. Exactly. I think that the coaches who are actually coaching clients probably completely unbothered by this article. It's the people who feel that their businesses are going to be threatened because the structure of coaches coaching other coaches has now come to light on a public platform. What's your star sign? You talk like a Virgo. I am a Taurus. That's why I'm so angry. Okay, so that was one response. Another piece of feedback looked like this. This one I thought was particularly funny, and I can't wait to hear those of you who are watching your response. It says, this runs along the lines of blaming McDonald's for obesity. Pardon me, but when was the last time McDonald's ran ads saying, you need to eat our food, and if you don't, you're a fucking loser? Oh my God, I'm swearing a lot tonight. I'm sorry. Finding an entity to blame for one's troubles. I've had all kinds of offers to learn more and spend more, and the words, no thank you, coming from my own mouth and mind, have saved me from debt and despair. Well, isn't it great to be you, Karen? Yes, there are some bad apples out there, just like in any industry. I would like to believe most people can see the personal responsibility factor. Okay, so this is what I was kind of getting to earlier. And I wanted to save it for this comment because this one really just did it for me. I think that this is an argument, again, like I mentioned earlier, that we see time and time again of just like essentially diminishing people's negative experiences. I don't know if it's because people don't want to take accountability for maybe participating in similar actions or what, but it's really this idea that the coach never has to take accountability, because when clients don't get results, it's the client's fault always. It's personal responsibility. You invested your money, that's you, your fault, your problem. Exactly. Suzanne says, WTF, McDonald's doesn't promise you will get rich and skinny eating their food. The issue, exactly. McDonald's doesn't trick people into getting fat or teach people how to open up their own franchises. Exactly. When I go to McDonald's and I'm eating, I only eat French fries really at McDonald's because I'm pescatarian, so I can't really eat anything else. But when I eat my McDonald's medium fry and I'm drinking my Diet Coke, I know that that stuff's not good for me. I know exactly how many calories are in it because it's written on the menu. In Canada, they have to publish that information. I know when I go to McDonald's that there's a chance that if I were to eat at McDonald's every single day, I might get fat. McDonald's isn't keeping that a secret, much to Suzanne and Harrison's point here. But when I sign up for your coaching program, and your coaching program is promising me that I'm going to make $10,000 in the next 30 days, and I don't, because statistically speaking, that's probably not actually going to happen, that's not my job to take personal responsibility for the fact that you lied to me. If I went and ate McDonald's every single day and I gained 50 pounds in a month, I would take personal responsibility for that because I knew that the food wasn't healthy. I knew the calories that I was consuming. I knew that it was high in saturated fat. I knew all this. But when I give you my money under the guise that you're going to give me a return on that investment and you don't because your marketing was misleading, much to the point on Reddit where they're saying that they wish this article had explained more about the manipulative marketing, that's on you as the coach for lying. That's not on me as the consumer. And that's the difference. Exactly. Julia says, do you blame people who stay in abusive/hurtful relationships? Like nobody can be manipulated? Exactly. This argument is flawed. But again, it's one we see so often. I know people have left it in my comment section. They've left it about me elsewhere on the internet of like, she had one bad coaching experience and she doesn't take any personal responsibility for it. I do to a degree that maybe I didn't do my due diligence, but I was also manipulated into thinking that this was the solution that was going to build me a successful business. So I think there's accountability to be taken on both parts, and to say it's one party's fault and not the other, questionable. Victim blaming, 100%. Yep, it's very MLM deflection with the bad apples part, 100%. Oh, it's just a few people. It's just a few people doing bad stuff. It's not a problem with the industry. It's not a systemic issue where Sally is teaching Jane, who's teaching Josie, who's teaching Monica. No. It's just Sally. Sally's the problem. No. It's an industry that has created an environment where all of this behavior is okay. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's your fault that my advice didn't work for you. 100%. Kelly is asking, has anyone ever gone off on their coach and stood up to their lies? I don't know. Hello, Hello, Mark, and welcome to the channel. Oh, actually, Kelly, that's a lie. I do know. Okay. If you have not watched the interview, please, please, please bookmark it, save it for later, go and watch it. The interview I did with Autumn, who I brought up earlier, I think that interview is titled something along the lines of like, coach steals from starving artists. She was an artist who hired a coach under the promise that the coach would help her build her art business to $100,000. Once she got in the program, she quickly learned that the coach was actually coaching the artists on how to become their own coach. So like Autumn joined this program thinking she was a like digital designer, that she was going to grow her digital design business, right? So just picture this. You join this program, you think, oh my God, I'm going to learn how to make $100,000 as a designer. The coach then, once she's already paid $6,500, she's gotten into the course material, all of it. The coach then goes, oh, no. If you want to make six figures, you as the designer actually have to now coach other artists on how they're going to build their art business. And so Autumn, after I think it was like halfway through the program, it was like a 6-month program, 3 months in, starts to realize like, wow, this isn't really what I signed up for. And all of these like classes that I'm watching and course content, like none of it really makes sense for my art business. So she ended up meeting up with someone else in the program who expressed similar sentiments. And then she decided to post in the Facebook group like, hey, so-and-so, we'll call her Jane Doe, the coach. This is what we all thought we were signing up for, but this is what we're being delivered. And those two things are not the same. And you want to know what happened to her? Not to spoil the whole interview if you haven't watched it, but she ended up getting kicked out of the Facebook group. She got kicked out of all of the course content, so she couldn't access it anymore, and the coach refused to give her a refund. So she paid in full $6,500 for a 6-month program, spoke up about the fact that she didn't get what she paid for, and the coach kicked her out of everything, kept her money. There's obviously more details to the story, so if you haven't watched it, I would still recommend you go and like play it while you're doing something, you know, listen to it in the background. But absolutely, if you speak out against whatever the common narrative is, you basically get exiled. And this experience isn't unique. I know that's like very anecdotal to say, well, I talked to one person and this was their experience. This is something, and I mean, Julia brought it up in the comments earlier. This is something I've seen time and time again of like, if you question the authority, it's like a cult. You need to go. You're not allowed to be here. Exactly, Monica. So it's my fault that you did not deliver what you promised. Make it make sense to me. I'm trying. Suzanne says, what's sad is that these coaches are more likely to be found because they have huge budgets to market with. The actual coaches are coaching and not crowing about their success on the internet. 100%. And a lot of them have massive teams, or at least they used to. Like Brooke Castillo used to spend so much money on ads because she had a team that's like running the ads for her. When you're a one-person show and you're actually actively coaching clients, you don't have time to be hosting webinars and creating evergreen funnels and doing all this stuff to get clients. I mean, even in my business now, in marketing, like I'm busy working with my clients. I don't have time to be all over the internet hunting people down trying to get them to work with me. Sweet God says, but make sure you give me credit when you make your first dollar. See, I told you. I know what I'm doing. Now I can use this as a success story. That's the other piece too, is like coaches taking no accountability when the client doesn't succeed, but when the client does succeed, they take full accountability. Like this person was only successful because of me. Doesn't matter if they worked with anyone else. It was all me. Thank you for sharing that. The link to the interview with Autumn is in the chat, so be sure to go and click on that. Save it for later. Julia says, jail to that coach. I hope so. I think she fought it with her credit card company, and the credit card company actually denied the claim. And then she provided a bunch of evidence, and I believe she said that she ended up getting it reversed, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. Community shunning, exactly. Ooh, a flute lesson. Fun. Welcome, Space Pastry. Space Pastry says, hi all, I'm late because I had a flute lesson. I am starting lessons for something tomorrow. I'm going to keep it on the DL for now. But I entered a 6-week program that I'm really excited for, a hobby that I've been wanting to get into for many, many years. So it starts tomorrow. Just decided that it was finally time to do something for myself. So I'm starting a new hobby, and I'm looking forward to hopefully sharing the results maybe in 6 weeks. Unless it turns out horribly, then I'm not telling anyone. Kelly says, what do you think of the narcissist life coaching channels drawing in abused and vulnerable? I think it's despicable. I have a video. I keep saying this every 5 minutes. I have a video on that. I have a video on that. I have it. But guys, I have like over 100 videos at this point about coaching. So I have many, many. But I do have a video where I talk about the narcissistic tendencies of a lot of these coaches. So that's not to say that all coaches are narcissists. That's not to say that every coach has these traits. But these specific types of coaches that do the like flashy, grandiose, over-the-top marketing tend to exhibit some of the same qualities. I would encourage you to go watch that video. Yeah, 100% Rachel. That was my point too. McDonald's also discloses the nutritional information of their products. Do the business coaches accurately disclose their info? No, they're demonstrating the outliers and acting as if it's going to be the results for everyone. That'd be like McDonald's being like, these French fries could have 50 calories or they could have 500, but we'll never know. Yeah, I hired a coach. No, I didn't. I didn't hire a coach. I wouldn't call it a coach. I have hired a legitimate expert in a specific craft, and they are going to teach me how to do what they do. Oh, that's so fun. Yay for a new hobby. My lessons have been for 6 weeks. So cool. I used to play the clarinet back when I was like 14. I wonder if I were to pick it up today, if I could still play a tune or two. John Mark says, I bet your new hobby is knitting. I guess you'll have to wait 6 weeks and find out. Harrison says, sign me up for your 6-week hobby building pyramid where I can teach other suckers how to get people to start their own hobbies for not so nominal fee. Coming soon. I got to recoup the cost of this new hobby somehow, so that's not a bad idea. Okay, let's move along to the next screenshot. Okay, this one reads, who forced this person, so her as in referring to the person in the article, who forced this person to keep spending money she didn't have? Are there ethical issues in our industry? Yeah, just like in every industry. There are those who would take advantage and the rest of us who have to work even harder to prove we're not dishonest. But building a business is hard and requires many skills beyond just a life coach certification. Okay. Lots to unpack here. Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. But I think this kind of mirrors the initial comment we looked at. The whole like, well, nobody made her make that choice. It was personal responsibility. Da 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 da. Again, if you're in a position where you're actively being manipulated, where your vulnerabilities are being taken advantage of, you are not going to stop and think like, am I being scammed? No, because you're in a position where you're so desperate to find a reprieve for the thing that you're suffering from that you're not going to have the ability to think critically and to ask questions and to do your due diligence. You're trusting that people aren't shitty and they're not out to scam you is like the long and the short of it. 100%. Space Pastry says, well, that sounds victim blamey. That's because it is. Just like in every industry, there are those who would take advantage and the rest of us who work hard to prove we're not dishonest. Or, hear me out, if you aren't dishonest, you actually don't have to prove anything. I made a post on Threads a few months ago that pissed some people off where I was basically saying, like, if your job requires you to constantly defend how what you're doing is not a scam, maybe what you're doing is a scam. I just think, like, I've never had to show up to a potential client and be like, hey, let me explain to you how having videos on your TikTok page is not a scam. Like, clients need help with X. I provide service Y, which solves that problem. There's no need to be like, okay, but Danielle, are you a real content creator or are you like one of those scammy content creators? And obviously this is like industry dependent, so maybe that example doesn't exactly work, but I would say the coaches that are operating ethically can basically sell their services through, you know, showing up as they are and not having to be like, oh, are you afraid you might get scammed? Let me tell you why what I do is not a scam. Like, you shouldn't have to be so defensive. Suzanne says, so many skeezy coaches encourage people to put it on their credit card because you will make the money back. Exactly. How many times have we seen that in even the content we've reacted to here on the channel? Who forced her to keep spending money she didn't have? Well, no one's forcing anyone, but you're definitely being coerced when I'm telling you, oh, if you just sign up, you'll make your money back. Like, frig off. I hate it. 1000%, Julia. Julia says that part, the constant defending that what you do isn't a scam should be a wake-up call. And yet, here we are. I mean, this whole article is really saying, like, maybe there's some pause for concern here. Maybe we should stop and reflect on maybe how what we're doing isn't ethical. But no, it's an industry problem. It's other people in the industry. It's not me. I'm not the scammer. It's the other people in the industry, guys. Don't be silly. John Mark says, I'm going to set up my own coaching qualification, international coaching certificate and diploma. Course is only $4,000 for a 6-week course. I personally, if I was going to run a 6-week coaching course, I would charge 6,666. 4 sixes, not 3. But angel numbers only. Okay. Maybe 7. 7777. Sweet God says, in an event recently, the coach guy told a lady to borrow $1,500 she needed and tell the person she borrows that money from that she'll pay it back with the money she's going to make. Red flag. It's like MLM. Like, oh, buy the most expensive starter kit because you'll make the money back. No, you probably won't, statistically speaking. Again, always look for the median income. Julia says, and when the client is put into a high-pressure situation to purchase, 100%. I got you on a sales call. Now you got to buy. Give me your money. Give me your money. They play with trust like it's a game. 100%. Totally agree. I'm not like those other scammers. I'm a cool scammer. Yeah, same. Okay, I think I have one more screenshot. Oh no, this is just the article. Okay, that was it. That was all I got. This is what I was hoping. I was hoping someone would be able, I guess, if you attended the life coach school, you allegedly get access to a private Facebook group. And so that's where some of these comments were coming from. But I did not go to the life coach school. I do not have access. Suzanne, am I allowed to share this screenshot you sent me? If not, I'll keep it to myself. Let me know in the chat. In the meantime, let me read the comments. Sweet God says, I spend too much time invading events. I spend not enough. I still have that Tony Robbins event sitting in my drafts somewhere. I haven't actually looked at it. Created by EJF says, have they checked the economy lately? Unless that person is signing your paycheck, they can't guarantee you will make money. Exactly. Like, hello, is anybody there? I don't think so. Ugh, me too, Julia. Julia says, the way I wish there was an income disclosure for coaches. Okay, so this is a coach's response to the article. Similar to what we were just looking at, but this one is like much more level-headed, I'm assuming. Okay. Oh, I guess now everyone can see who I was DMing. That's fine. There's no one scary here. There's an article in the New York Times today talking about the underbelly of the coaching industry. Of course, it's not the first or the third or the 10th article to do so or make fun of coaching. And coaching is also the butt of so many jokes in conversation, on TV show. There's even a song written about it in the musical Beetlejuice, which is kind of hysterical. I'll have to look that up. I mainly get sad as well as even more determined when I see these things because I wish the culture at large would know about the absolute wonderful and sacred experiences that coaching clients have. About the meaningful results that get created in their lives, about the self-compassion and self-love that gets cultivated through the process. Yes, of course, there are not so kosher things happening in the industry. And yes, of course, practitioners need to be well trained. And I recognize that sometimes when I maybe hide myself a little bit, i.e., when I don't make myself as visible as I could, it has to do with the stigma. That being said, I am very proud of the work I do and the work I see my students doing. There is so much richness in the world that so many of us do, and we deeply help the humans we work with, and I want to see more of these kinds of articles. Exactly. Okay. I think that she makes a few good points here. Hold on, I'm just switching screens again. Whoops. There we go. I think that this comment in particular does a good job of not saying this in like a defensive way. Like it's quite evident to me, and maybe Suzanne, you could speak to this more, that this person might be a little bit peeved that this article came out, but they're also not saying that, well, it's some people's fault and this is just the result of people's bad mindset. Like I think there's a way to approach this discussion from a like level-headed perspective where you don't have to be an asshole either way. Like I could sit here and make content and be like, all coaches are fucking idiots and they're all horrible and they all just want to steal people's money. But that wouldn't necessarily be true. And so for all these coaches to also say, well, anyone who didn't get results, it's their own fault. Or if these people are out all this money, that's because they need to take personal responsibility. Like you can be on one extreme end of the spectrum or the other. And I think that this comment does a better job at just kind of like hanging out in the middle. I'm a coach. I do ethical work. I appreciate the work that my clients are doing. I see the transformation that my work has created, but also shady shit is happening. This comment reads, the copy used in these programs makes them seem like they can heal you and fix all your problems when someone is actively trying to get you to bypass your critical thinking and impulse buy. Exactly. But then they will also tell you that if you didn't get results, it's your fault because you didn't do your due diligence. Well, you didn't really foster an environment where I could actively do my due diligence, but I'm just saying. I'm not drinking soda. This is sparkling water. It's French. You'll understand. It's just store brand sparkling water. I drink a lot of this. And yes, before anyone asks, I do own a Soda Stream, but the stuff in the can just hits better. It hits different. Oh boy, Tony and Dean are coming back. Send me more. Send me more. Suzanne says, I know people who did LCS training under the assumption they would be hired by the school. Interesting. So they thought they would become life coaches for the life coach school. Like they did the certification so they could become life coach school teachers. Is that what you're saying? If not an income statement for coaches, there should definitely be a glass door for coaches. Agreed. Maybe that could be who I need to find a web developer. Let's build a website, baby, and then we'll sell it for millions, and then we'll get rich, and then we'll start a coaching program where we teach other people how to build their own websites and make millions. Okay, you know what? That's not a bad idea. I know some smart people. Let's see if we can figure this out. Yeah, it's not as defensive as the other. I agree. Suzanne says, I find it curious so many people felt the need to post about it. I didn't feel called to comment on it. Again, I think it comes down to like whether or not you are perhaps participating in some of the more questionable, less ethical actions. You're likely to become more defensive about the truth coming out because you're someone that's benefiting from that structure. Whereas you, Suzanne, you don't benefit from the coaches coaching coaches, right? So it makes no difference to you. Oh, fun! Space Pastry, congratulations! Space Pastry says, 12 months of membership. Oh, hey, I'm a unicorn. So if you don't know what they're talking about, if you are a member here on my channel, you have a little rich emoji next to your face, like the emoji with the tongue $ sticking out. When you've been a channel member for 12 months, you turn into a unicorn. So thank you so much for supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it. And hey, if you're watching the live stream, be sure to give it a thumbs up if you're enjoying. It helps me with the algorithm overlords, as we like to call them. Send help, SOS. What? Julia says, you need the coconut one from PC. It's summer in a can. I have not seen that. I've tried there's like a bubbly pineapple coconut that comes out every summer. I tried that one last year. It was really good. So I'll have to look for the President's Choice one. I also really like, it comes in the white can. It's President's Choice. So it's not the blue menu, but just like regular President's Choice. It's orange cream soda flavored. So it tastes like but it's soda water. So it's 0 calories, no sugar or anything. It tastes like a creamsicle. It's so freaking good. I love that one. Hello, and welcome. Welcome. You laugh, but that's actually diabolically brilliant. I'm not joking. If anyone watching this stream, live or on the replay, is a web developer, let's talk. Let's figure this out. Because I'm definitely interested. I mean, I always tell people to just go to Reddit, type in the person's name and type Reddit. But if we just created a centralized platform, guys, we're on to something. Let's get on. If you're interested, email me. Congrats on your unicorn status. We love it. This comment reads, congrats, Space Pastry. Pray tell us how the view at the top of the world looks like. It's actually the top of the pyramid, and I'm at the top of the pyramid. So the view's pretty great up here. Let me tell you that. Thumbs up for success. Yes, please thumbs up the stream. I'm begging you to like the stream. So good. Welcome. Well, welcome to the live stream. It's a little bit chaotic here. We're mostly just shooting the shit. Let's be honest. Having a good time. Clearly Canadian is good stuff. That one has sugar in it, doesn't it? I don't know. There's something about, like, I love Diet Coke. I love root beer. Root beer is great, but there's something about like sugary, carbonated, fruity stuff that I can't get behind. Like my grandma used to give us, it comes in like, this is like a very niche thing. I think it's President's Choice brand as well. It comes in like a clear 1 liter bottle and it's like fruit flavored carbonated water, but it has sugar in it. Oh my God. I think because I used to drink it so much as a kid, it's just like ruined for me. I have to do the like no sugar one just because I don't know. I think as I've gotten older, I like crave sweet stuff less. Mind you, I eat Oreos every day, so I say that like sweet drinks, I guess. I drink less. Sweet food, I will eat a lot of. I don't know how we got here. Sorry. Space Pastry says the view is colorful but hot because summer. Okay, we have a web designer. Do you know any developers? Can you code? Someday that will be us, I will tell you. I haven't gotten to Diamond Academy yet. I have a list about a mile long of content. So it will come eventually. I love it. Okay. Catherine Cameron has a whole team behind her, web designer, making big money on the coaching scam. Yeah. Add her to the list of 8,000 other people that are. Yes. Okay. Okay, there was something else I wanted to show you guys while we were on here, and now I don't remember. Oh, yeah. Okay, I have another tab open. So, this is like a bit of a side tangent. I just kind of thought this was funny. One of my friends over on the internet, on Threads, we connected through Threads. Now we chat on IG sometimes. Her name's Lindsay. She shared this post the other day. It says, so she, sorry for context, is doing a bunch of research about people's experience in the coaching industry. And similar to me, she has stated multiple times that when she puts a call out for people to share their negative experiences in the coaching industry, she gets inundated with responses. And whenever she puts a call out for people having reasonable experiences, good experiences, etc., it's much harder to find people who are willing to share. And so I find that kind of funny when we read through some of the screenshots from earlier where people are saying, what about those of us doing good? It's just a few bad people who have had bad experiences. The rest of us are doing amazing. Okay, well then where are you? And why aren't you sharing your experience if that's true? In fact, if you're watching this video and you've had a really positive coaching experience, call me. Let's talk. Let's do an interview. Let's post it on the channel. I'd love to have a conversation. Okay. Anyway, she shared this post here. It says, the reason I've created nearly $800,000 as a life coach organically on Instagram is because I chose to believe that my thoughts create my results. Everything else is just details I've figured out along the way. Lindsay posted this and wrote, this is bullshit. If you're tired of hearing this bullshit, we should be friends. I replied and I said, did they actually make $800,000 as a life coach, or did they make $800,000 as a coach coaching other life coaches? Because there's a big difference. I can't with this nonsense. And I just wanted to bring this to attention because this is something that I've brought up before with Stacey Bayman, who claims to be a 6-figure life coach, multiple years making $1 million life coaching business. She's not a life coach. She's a coach of other life coaches. That's how she makes her money. So that's number one. Number two, also being brought up here in the chat by Harrison, my thoughts create my results equals my sales copy hits the right pain points to finesse the vulnerable. The whole, like, your thoughts create your reality thing, in my opinion, is such a, like, privileged perspective to have just in life in general, to think that you have everything as a result of thinking positively. No. Because if that were the case, people wouldn't be poor. People wouldn't be in poverty. People wouldn't suffer with the multitude of issues I could list off here, because they could just choose not to if it was really that simple. And so it's just, it always pisses me off whenever I see people write stuff like that. Like, oh, I'm rich because I thought I could be, so I did. All right. I don't actually have anything else planned. That was kind of it. Those were the screenshots I had. I was hoping someone would come through for me last minute, but alas, no such luck. If anyone watching the replay knows of or is a former life coach school student and you want to do some secret sleuthing for me, let me know, because we could be friends. And it could be fun. And I'll keep you anonymous, so you don't have to worry about getting kicked out of the group or anything. But I think that's going to be it for today. This was a little bit shorter of a stream. I know we usually do at least 2 hours, but I got nothing else. So I don't know what to say. Leave your Closing thoughts in the comments. If you have any feedback about the article, make sure to read the article if you can. I think the New York Times gives you 10 free articles or something if you sign up, or 10 articles a month or something. So you can just create a free account and then read the article. I would encourage you to actually read the article. Suzanne said, I just did a quick scout around my coach friends, and that was the only one who had posted about it. Yeah, I tried like Googling, trying to see if I could get anything anywhere, but I couldn't find anything else. So if anything comes up, if anyone reaches out to me and connects and has the secret intel, I'll be sure to share it at the beginning of next week's stream. But alas, I actually, this week, the video coming out is an interview I did with a life coach. So she is actively a life coach, and we had a really great conversation. I'm excited for that interview to come out. I actually connected with her for another video that I'm working on, where I'm still working on many months later, about the differences between coaching and therapy. I've interviewed multiple different coaches, multiple different therapists, and I'm working on that video. And when I was interviewing this woman for that video, I was like, holy shit, I love your perspective on the industry. I love the work you're doing. Let's talk. So then we scheduled a separate interview where we're chatting just about her specifically as a coach. So I'm excited for that to come out. Hopefully it'll be out either Thursday or Friday, obviously a day earlier for members. So let's say probably Thursday for members, Friday for everyone else. But I'm excited for that one. And if you haven't watched the video that came out on the weekend, what are you doing? Very, very interesting results of the survey I did a few months ago, asking about people's experience who have worked for a coach. So if you're watching this stream, you made it this far, and you hate my content, you think that I'm just this jealous internet hater troll who tried to be a coach and failed and now makes it her life purpose to tear everyone down because I'm so miserable. You're right, I am. Just kidding. I would encourage you to go watch the video I posted last week where I chat with people who actually have direct experience working for some of these coaches, because some of the results were quite eye-opening. And if you haven't seen it, you're missing out. Don't worry, I don't sing in that video, so you don't have to worry about your ears bleeding any more than they probably already are. Suzanne says, I think the article is a great space to get conversations started and make people question before they invest 100%. And that's what I'm saying is, like, the only people that are getting pissed off are the ones whose current tactics are probably threatened as a result of the contents of this article. So we can only hope that it reaches the masses. Maybe more mainstream media will pick up these stories. Call me if you're looking to interview someone. I'm just kidding. I just like, the more that we can start talking about this publicly, the more mainstream it will become, and the less likely innocent people will be to hand their money over to Jane Doe on the internet who's promising to have all the secrets. No hair extensions here, baby. This is my natural hair. In fact, my literal natural hair. It's curly AF. I did this new thing today. It's called showering. You guys should try it if you haven't yet. Thanks for being here. Kelly says, I like what you do. Truth refreshing. And Lisa says, the survey results video was very interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you all so much. If there's anything you want me to react to on a live stream, send it my way. That's going to be it for today's video. Okay, I'll stop talking. Enjoy your day, night, morning, evening, weekend, whenever you're watching this video. Take care, comb your hair, and I'll see you in my next video. Okay, bye!